Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Hello, Internet. It is I, Niall.
And I'm Nolan.
And we are here to review American Made, starring Tom Cruise. This is the new Fangled Motion Picture Show, by the way. And so we're going to do our normal thing, where we do a spoiler-free review, and then we give you a warning, and then we go more in depth and spoilery. Although, I mean, it's kind of hard to spoil
History.
Okay, it's probably not hard to spoil history for a lot of people because I don't think a lot of people know about this event. Like, they've heard of the Contras because of the Iran-Contra scandal.
Or the Nintendo game.
Or the Nintendo game.
Unrelated.
Yeah, unrelated. But I don't think a lot of people really know that our government did these things.
Yeah,
back in
so
the 70s.
American Made is based on true events, and it's based around what the sort of shady practices that the government, in particular the CIA, were willing to do in the 80s to fight communism. Communism was getting a foothold in Central America.
Can't have that.
And, I mean, that's right at our back door. Right at our basement, anyway. And, you know, we're willing to do a lot to fight communism. Then, as it turns out, like, later we found out America did a lot more to fight communism than the Soviet Union did to fight capitalism.
Yes.
We sink a lot more money into things.
But, yeah, so the movie focuses around this guy, Barry Seal, played by Tom Cruise, who's a pilot that gets hired by the CIA to first just take reconnaissance photos of the
the troops that the Soviets sent to help aid the Sandinistas.
Yeah.
All through the Central America, Panama, Ecuador, but in Nicaragua, the Sandinistas.
Right. He takes photos like all throughout Central America and Northern South America, but the movie focuses mostly on the things that happen in Nicaragua. But so he starts off just taking reconnaissance photos and.
Well, let's not get too far into the plot because that gets into.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I mean, you can look this up on like Wikipedia and stuff, but
yeah. So, things get crazy. Gets in over his head because it's a movie worthy story. So.
Yeah, but it's a dark comedy. So I mean, this is all some serious stuff going on, but the way they tell it is sort of humorous.
Yeah.
And I really liked it.
Yeah, it was a really, really enjoyable movie.
I might be a little biased because I find the whole Cold War era fascinating. Like I'm really into it, and especially just the extents that America was willing to go to fight communism. Just is sometimes baffling.
Yep.
And this is one of those cases where it's baffling. So I went into it just sort of already like in gear for this sort of movie.
Right. And I mean it's a really good period piece.
Yeah. Also, if you've seen what was that movie with Jeremy Renner? That tells sort of the other side, or not the other side, but it's about a journalist who uncovers all this information.
Right. Oh man.
We're not here to review that, but I mean, it
was also a really good movie. What was the name of that movie?
Let me look up Jeremy Renner.
I can look it up quicker than you can.
Yeah, because I'm on a phone.
And I'm not.
But if you've seen that movie, you're already sort of familiar with some of the goings on in this movie.
Right.
What was that? Did Kill the Messenger? I think that was it. Kill the Messenger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this that movie was very serious. This movie is a much more lighthearted take on it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of serious stuff goes on.
Because that guy uncovered all the stuff that happened in the 80s. He uncovered it in the 90s.
Right. And then he was killed in a very suspicious way.
Right. But anyway,
suicide by a gunshot wound to the back of his head, that sort of thing. Anyway, this is a much more lighthearted take on it. It glosses over some. It tells the story over the course of several years, and it sort of glosses over some things that
right.
Just to sort of, for brevity's sake, just to move things along. It doesn't have to go into great detail on a lot of stuff, but narration fills in a lot of the gaps. Yeah, and then just the amount of money that was going through, that was being moved around, was crazy. But
yeah, it was a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
I do recommend seeing it. It's a good period piece too, which those are just enjoyable anyway.
Yeah, when they're well done.
Kind of a sucker for period pieces when they're well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a pretty star-studded cast of the main characters. Like, so the acting's good.
Yep. Even had Ronald Reagan in it. Can you believe?
Yeah. Yeah, it had archive footage of Reagan.
Donald Gleason, I think I'd seen him play Americans before, but
he did a really solid
American accent. You didn't hear any, unlike Liam Neeson, whose Irish accent slips through all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think he even tries to hide it. I think people just ignore it. But Donald Gleason's accent is non-existent in this. He just sounds purely American. Yeah. He plays the CIA handler, their CIA guy who was Tom Cruise's handler.
Man, I want that job.
You want to be that guy?
Yeah, I want to be that guy. I feel like it'd be super stressful, but it's interesting, you know?
Wind up like Jack Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. Wind up like Jack Ryan, and then figuring out that because
Jack Ryan.
Hold on. I try to remember the name of the captain of the Red October. Ramius. I was remembering it just as you said it. Yeah, then I could figure out that Ramius is actually trying to defect, and all kinds of cool stuff.
Unlike what is presented to us in Shadow Recruit, Jack Ryan was an analyst in the CIA, and he fell into these situations, was not trained for these situations. The only training he ever got was at the Naval Academy.
Yeah. But no, I want that job. Sounds fun. But anyway, I digress. I don't think there's a whole lot more we can really say about it without spoiling it.
Yeah, without spoilers. I really recommend it, especially if you're interested in this time period at all. I think it goes from 1978 to 84, 86 maybe.
86.
Yeah,
because that's when you see in the trailer he's like doing these recordings where he's telling the story. And he does that in 86, I believe.
Right. So it's
as I recall.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's a good movie. It's a little long. Not too long, but it just you feel that you feel how long it is sitting there watching. But I mean, all this stuff needs this. I can't really think of anything that can be cut out too much.
Yeah.
So
it's just under 2 hours.
So anyway, spoiler warning.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think they did a really good job of showing just the ludicrous amount of money that he had built up.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's trafficking drugs for Pablo Escobar.
Well, the whole of the cartel. Escobar wasn't like.
Oh yeah, he like left the. He
wasn't in charge yet.
Right. This was before that. So yeah, before the Colombia drug cartel, he was trafficking drugs.
Escobar was like one of the head 3 guys, though.
Yeah, mostly he dealt with the guy, Carlos. think Escobar got rid of them eventually, and that's why people don't remember their names.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I mean, there was like some figure one time I read where Escobar had to been like his annual rubber band budget was like $5,000 or something, or more than that, like $12,000 or something every year in rubber bands just to wad up his money.
Yeah.
Because it's how much money he was moving.
Well, they talked about in that other movie we were talking about, where they're talking about how they had to pay someone to just rotate the money.
Because it would get moldy.
Storage. Yeah, because it would get moldy otherwise. So someone had to go in to where they had all this cash stored and just rotate it. You know, take the ones on the bottom, put them on the top, move everything down.
Yeah. And it's just like, it became humorous how much money that Barry Seal was getting.
Yeah,
and
there's a part where he has this bag of money, and he goes to bury it in the yard,
and he keeps digging
up other bags of money. So he goes to hide it in this like shed in his, or this like closet or whatever in his garage or something like that, and like he opens the door and just bags of money fall out on top of him.
Yeah, it's
it shows a bank in the movie built a vault. A small vault to move everyone's money into that wasn't his, and then he got the main vault. Right.
Well, it's funny. It's this because the CIA moves him to this little town in Arkansas. Right? It was Arkansas?
It was Arkansas.
Yeah, it was Arkansas. They move him to this little town. They give him an airfield and a house and a bunch of land, so he can do what they need him to do. And so by that point, he's not just taking reconnaissance photos. He's moving guns to the Contra in Nicaragua, and he's
as well as to the cartel.
Yeah, well, he wasn't supposed to be moving the guns to the cartel.
Right.
But what the CIA wanted him doing, though, is taking to the Contra, and then also he was buying intel from what's his name?
Oh yeah.
He was a colonel and then a general.
Yeah, Noriega.
Yeah, Noriega. Yeah. So anyway, so he's just moving all this stuff throughout the Central America for the CIA, and so they wanted. And then he was, since it was technically illegal what he was doing, the CIA wasn't going to back him for any, or they would deny him if he ever got caught. So he had to fly like around the DEA and whatnot. So
Border Patrol,
DEA, ATF.
Yeah, ATF, and there's another Coast Guard.
Yeah, so they gave him this airfield in the middle of nowhere in this little town in Arkansas, and so that's where he worked out of, and he wound up having to like expand and like getting like 3 or 4 other pilots or something. And anyway, so he has this like suitcase full of money because he works out this deal with the cartel, because the Contra don't really want the guns, because it turns out the Contra didn't really want to fight that much. So he sold the guns to the cartel and then brought the drugs to the Contra, and then the Contra smuggled the drugs into America.
Right.
And so he was getting a cut of all the drugs getting moved, though, and it was just ridiculous amounts of money. And there's part where he goes into the bank and he opens this briefcase full of money. He's like, I want to open an account, and she's like, "Oh, God bless you."
Yeah.
Because it's like this little town. The population is like 2,000.
Yep.
There's no money. Like when they first enter the town, there's all these businesses closed everywhere. The economy's in shambles in this town, and he basically builds this whole town up.
Yeah.
When the FBI starts investigating him, because there's all this money moving around, and the guy shows him the town, and so he's like on the main street. There's like 6 banks.
Yep.
that all showed up because of his money.
Right.
And he's also laundering it by building new buildings in the town, building a new
shell
school.
Corporations.
Yeah, all these shell corporations and like all the stuff. On top of all the money, he doesn't know what to do with it. He's hiding all over his property and everything.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like more than Breaking Bad levels of money.
Yeah, it's it's crazy the amount of money.
He had pallets. I mean, I don't even watch that show. Shame on you, by the way. But yeah, he had pallets of money in a storage unit. But yeah, they they do a really good job of showing his wealth build up and just like the absurdity of how much it was.
Yeah, I love the little narration parts when it would like jump time and he would explain like the current political climate. It was like these cartoons doing it.
Oh man, it was so funny when he's saying, "So I was flying into this little country, Nicaragua," and you see the words right across the map. He goes, "Wait a minute, no, that's El Salvador."
Then like they cross out Nicaragua.
Out, like,
Nicaragua.
The
country the country south of that, Nicaragua. That's the one.
Yeah.
It's like, no, wait, no, that's El Salvador.
Yeah.
Nicaragua. And then when he's talking about what spurned the CIA into start giving him all this because he was getting paid a lot of money by the CIA too.
Yeah.
And what spurned that was Reagan becoming president. And he's talking about, like, Ronnie, love that guy. Anyone can go for that chimp show to the
White House.
To the White House is all right in my book.
Yeah.
It's this whole montage of footage of Ronald Reagan and different roles he had as an actor and stuff, and it was really amusing. But yeah, and then at some point they were paying him to bring the Contra up to America, where the military would train them on his property, but like half of them would run away.
Few hundred acres.
Yeah, half of them would like run away and disappear somewhere so they could go living in America. Cause they don't want to go back to Nicaragua.
Yeah, I mean, who would want to go back to Nicaragua?
Yeah, when you could live in America. So like a whole bunch of them like run away.
You know what we have in America? We have Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Reason enough to stay in America. Man. But yeah, it's a very fun movie. Highly recommended.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a whole lot else I have to say about it.
No, not too much.
I mean, we're both suckers for Cold War era things, especially when they're presented in the form of a dark comedy, because the ridiculousness and absurdity of a lot of things that were going on at the time, looking back on it, can be pretty funny and because it's so outlandish.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure at the time.
Right at the time.
I mean, I was born after the wall fell, so I'm sure at the time, it wasn't so funny.
Well, I loved how it ended too. The Donald Gleason. By this point, Barry, the CIA has just about all knowledge of him. They've burned everything to do with him.
Yep.
He's actually been killed by the cartel. And then Donald Gleason is sitting there, and he's like, and he goes rushing into his superior's office. And he's like, Iran, we'll get Iran
to arm
Contra. And it cuts to the footage of Ollie North sitting in front of the congressional hearing, talking about the Iran Contra affair.
Yep. And then people shouting at Reagan when he's pardoning the Thanksgiving turkey, which is a famous footage. If you haven't seen it, it's like he's so like on edge and nervous in that footage.
Yeah, and they're like, "What do you know about the Contra?" Says, "All I know is this turkey's gonna be delicious."
Yeah,
or something like that. Like, you're about to pardon that turkey, you know?
Yeah.
And then like footage like, Vice President Bush.
Yeah.
And he like ducks back behind, like George Bush Sr. ducked behind this pillar, like.
Oh yeah, W was in the movie too. I mean, not the actual W, but someone playing W.
Yeah, they called him Junior.
Yeah.
But he's sitting there like, "Oh, you fly, huh?" I says, "Yeah, a little bit." He's like, "Me too." And
he's like, "Air National Guard, 68, 69." I think that's when he was in.
So like, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little scene. It was pretty funny. There were a lot of. There's a lot of stuff in here that's funnier if you're familiar with the time.
Yeah.
It's not that you need to be to enjoy the movie, but yeah, it's
there's definitely more there to appreciate if you are familiar with the history of that time.
Yep. Well, I think that's about all we have to say about the movie. Go see it.
Definitely.
American made.
So next week's Blade Runner.
Yeah.
that was a fist bump into an explosion, as is our custom.
Yep.
Man, that movie's getting good reviews from people who have been seeing early showings.
That's good.
2 hours and 43 minutes long.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting our money out of that movie.
Well, the original Blade Runner, the director's cut anyway, was pretty long.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch that this week. It's been too long. I just remember origami unicorns and bicycle shorts in the rain. And then the week after that is Marshall and the Foreigner.
I'm interested in both of those. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably see. The Foreigner just looks like a awesome action movie.
I've heard good things about it. People who've seen it said it's pretty good.
And Marshall is just like Oscar bait central. So I mean,
yeah,
we'll probably go see that.
What about that Professor?
Oh yeah, Professor Marston and the Wonder Women.
Yeah, that's.
Oh man.
That's got Luke
Evans.
Luke Evans. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about the guy who created Wonder Woman.
Weirdo.
And he's a weirdo, and he's in this.
I'm gonna say it now. That dude was weird.
He's in this relationship. Well, it's not just him is weird because his wife, a little bit too. She perpetuated it, but
yeah,
like it's like this.
Well,
3-way relationship with him and his wife and this other woman.
Yeah, I mean, if we see it, we'll get more into that. You should definitely go see it though, because, man, like it knowing what we know about that guy, makes some things about Wonder Woman really, really weird. So, but that's in 2 weeks as well. That might be something that waits. When does Murder on the Orient Express come out? I saw a poster tonight. I was like, oh yeah, I really want to see that. Do you know?
I don't know. Anyway, so look forward to that stuff. What we got? Our normal. We plan to play Uncharted on Sunday, like we have been.
Yeah, probably. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't this week. I'm meaning to stream more during the week, but just stuff's been coming up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's over on our Twitch channel. By the way, we've moved our streaming over there because Uncharted has guns in it, and YouTube will suppress that stream and the archive of that stream after the fact. So, I mean, maybe when they figure out their algorithms better, we'll move back to streaming on YouTube, because there's a lot of things about streaming on YouTube that's just easier than streaming on Twitch. So, but yeah, over at our Twitch, which is everything_is_bad. That's where we're streaming right now. Uncharted. When we're done with that, we're probably gonna do Cuphead, I think.
Okay.
Game's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
All right. So until Sunday night, and then next week when we do Blade Runner 2049.
All right.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name earlier. We were talking about.
Yeah.
I'm bad with remembering names, though.
Yep. You and me both.
Yeah. Names are bad for me.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right. So thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.